Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the Women's Rugby League World Cup, and this one is an intriguing contest. Both of these sides throughout their group stage are yet to find defeat, so someone is going to be continue that winning streak heading into the semi-finals, and the other side, they will still be making it to the semi-finals, but not quite with as much momentum as the other sides. But as you can see, the points differential, very impressive for the England Lionesses with 118, but just as impressive for Papua New Guinea Orchids with 92. And there as well, we will be looking through at the starting lineups. The matchup is not too far away from starting. It is almost 8 a.m. here, or 8:30 a.m. I should say, here in New Zealand. This nice early Thursday morning kickoff, but this is the starting lineup for the Lionesses. It will be Stanley, Beavers, and Burke as the back three. Goldthorpe, Hardcastle, Roach, and Winfield Hill will make up the rest of the backline. Cunningham, Dodd, Rudge, Field, Jones, and Wood will be the rest of the starting lineup, and they are the four back. Looking through quickly at the Papua New Guinea Orchids for this game, it is going to be at the very back. Molaware, she was pretty good in that first game that we did do on the channel in the matchup up against the Canadians. Butler and Alu also out on the wings, and it's interesting with the Nika Butler, because she didn't have the best first game. I believe she played a lot better in the second game, though, up against Brazil. She'll be hoping to build that momentum heading into the next match of the competition. Gwassamam in the midfield alongside Long, Karoi, and Malabag. They are the rest of the backs for the Orchids. Then looking through at the fullback, Reeves, Vivers, Banu, Cooper, also Aiton, and Albert at number 8. So very familiar look for that number 8 jersey. Albert for the women, Albert for the men. Albert for, I don't actually think Papua New Guinea have a wheelchair team, but if they did, I'm sure number 8 would be someone Albert. But that is the starting lineup for both of these sides. We have just heard God Save the King from the English Lionesses, and now the matchup. We are just about ready to go, ladies and gentlemen, for this exciting contest. It's going to be a middle of the night game for you guys from Papua New Guinea, so we appreciate every single one of you for being here for this matchup. We have got success. And there, as I had said, go Papua New Guinea girls, you can do it. And when will they play? They will kick off at 8:30 a.m. New Zealand time. So only 2 minutes time, and seeing the Orchids prevail would be great. The league means a lot to them, says Fergus. Exactly right. The country of Papua New Guinea always get behind their sides when they are playing rugby league, and that is exactly what they're going to need to do for this game. We did see this matchup take place in the men's side of things not too long ago, and unfortunately for Papua New Guinea, they didn't really find their feet in that contest, which is why for this game they want to make sure that at least their women's side will be able to get themselves the win over the men, or over the women, I should say, build some momentum heading into that next game, as it could be a very exciting one. See how it does end up going. And also we have got there in the chat that it is 7:27 here in the UK, says Randolph, and also go the Orchids go, says EJ in there as well. But anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let me know who you think will be winning this contest, your score prediction, and also a first try scorer. For some reason, if I had to pick one try scorer, I feel like Leah Burke is my first try scorer. If it is a player who scores from England, if it's a Papua New Guinean, Gwassamam in the midfield, I think is the one who might be able to get the job done. But this game, it is once again going to be kicking off from the same location as the first match that Papua New Guinea played, Emerald Headingley Stadium. So they're familiar with the ground, already have a win under their belt here, but I'm sure the English Lionesses, they won't mind. They're on home soil for this contest. But Ben Carsty in charge of this game. It's a hard one to predict with score prediction-wise, because both of these sides have beaten Brazil and both of these sides have beaten Canada relatively comfortably. You'd have to say that England may be a little bit more comfortable in both of their games, being able to rack up a few extra points, but it's certainly going to be Papua New Guinea and England making it through on this side of the draw, and then for the other side of the draw, I'm sure it will be Australia and New Zealand. They actually play tomorrow morning, I believe it is, here in New Zealand. There's a round of applause erupting around the ground, getting ready for kickoff evening. Hamish says, Key and welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. First live stream actually on the channel since receiving a copyright strike for a Rugby League World Cup game. So we have had that removed. We've got that all cleared up. It took only a couple days, which was very good news, because if it had taken any longer, it may have been a little bit questionable whether or not we'd make it to the weekend in time to be able to live stream. But now we've got plenty planned. I think over 10 matches of the weekend we are going to be covering on the channel, but it is about to be kicked off by Papua New Guinea. Viva's kicking us off, and this game now underway between the Orchids and the Lionesses, and straight away charging at the line. Dropped the ball as well for England. Big shot. She got sandwiched, I think is the best way of describing it. I think she's trying to say, no, she wasn't saying that she did have it stripped. She's just saying, a bit of a loose carry there. And also, how did you get copyrighted? Pretty much it was for our title. A broadcaster felt we had a title too similar to what they had on their website for showing the game. So pretty much from that, it got picked up in their system, and then they took it down, which was unfortunate. But at the end of the day, we managed to get it cleared up, and they kind of said, sorry about that. Didn't mean for it to happen. It was a shame that it was on Samoa versus Tonga, because that was an absolutely awesome game. But, yeah, it wasn't ideal for us on the Kiwi Lads channel. And also, where are they going to play? When are they going to play? They have currently kicked off. We're currently 1 minute into the contest. Papua New Guinea with possession, sitting just outside of the 10-metre line. Nice inside ball from Lisa Marie Alu, getting close now to the line here. Great run from Reeves. Oh, she almost had a loose carry there as well, Jessica Reeves, but it is going to be going back across. Alu close to the line of the Orchids, really looking to test this English defence early, and they're going to be slinging it out to the right-hand side. The draw and pass. Banu trying to go through, but it's taking 4 English players to make sure that she goes backwards. Going to be fifth and final. Shirley Joe trying to work out what option on what side of the field is best. That's actually going to be a really poor bit of work there from Tara Jane Stanley. I'm not too sure what her tactic was, but she decided to let it hit her leg rather than catching this. I don't think she wanted to knock it on, but in the process almost allowed the ball to hit her leg, bounce into the in-goal area, and almost allow Papua New Guinea to score the first try. How do you feel about Pakistan sweeping New Zealand out of the World Cup like dust? Says Yanri now. I don't know whether I'd call it sweeping. So at the end of the day, they only had the 5 balls left in the T20, but they certainly won that game comfortably. Yeah, New Zealand, they'll be a bit disappointed with how that went. Up against Pakistan, that was a good shot there from Hardcastle. Now getting driven backwards about 15 metres. And also England by 36, Australia by 22 on Friday. Sorry, H, says Peter Mason. No, it's understandable. And I mean New Zealand. Here's one for you. New Zealand have already booked their flights home the day after the semi-final of the World Cup. So it's nice to see that New Zealand has confidence in themselves that they've already decided to book their flights home rather than sticking around for a little bit longer just in case they make it to the final. So I feel like they're riding them their own selves off up against Papua New Guinea, or not Papua New Guinea, sorry, up against Australia and away. And also we've got their Rose in the chat. And also Amos going for Papua New Guinea, and Orchids will win, says Emil. And they're currently looking very dangerous in the early stages. Nice pass on the outside now. Molawea, she's got the try. I don't think her feet were in touch either. And that is going to be sensational work from the Orchids, getting themselves in the lead early. And they're the dark horse of this competition. I'll say it right now. They've got a huge amount of talent. And they've got a side that a lot of people, like when they look at the lineups or they look at the squads, past results, everyone's going, it's New Zealand or Australia's competition. Maybe England because they're at home. Everyone's overlooking the Orchids. And I feel like if they can get it right throughout their next, they only need to win another 2 games and they are champions. You're going to do South Africa A versus Munster tomorrow, says Yanri now. I'd like to, but I see it's not on Sky and it's not on Spark Sport here in New Zealand. So I don't actually know where to watch that game. So that is something I'll certainly have to work out. I assume it's on DSTV, Yanri. Is there any other options in, I guess, anywhere in the world to be able to watch that game? I'd like to think it would be on like RTE if it's an island. But yeah, it's hard to tell. Seems like all of the games have different places. Or is it on Amazon? And go big sissy Elsie Albert, says Judy John there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how she goes. And number 8, like I mentioned, you've got Washington Albert for the men's, Elsie Albert for the women's. Pretty much anyone with that number 8 jersey just got Albert running right across their back. And they normally play very well when they're out on the field. But this is going to be a tough kick for Vivas to start her off. Didn't have the best kicking accuracy in that first game up against the Canadians. It got a little bit better, though, up against Brazil. Ready to strike this one. She's got it relatively clean, but it's not quite going to have the accuracy. Goes away to the left-hand side, and she has just sworn. She's not happy with the fact that that one's missed, but it is still sitting 4-0 for Papua New Guinea after the first 5 minutes. But it was a nice backline. Malabag Then on the outside, eventually found its way into the hands of Malawea, and she was going to definitely take that opportunity when it did arise. Craig Richards, head coach of England, not looking too happy at the moment. All England have done in this match is defend. They've been inside of their own 22, their own 20-metre line. I say 22 due to the union that we have covered in the past. Now the Lionesses kicking off long. Jane Stanley gives it a good strike and waiting for that one to bounce. It's an awkward one for Albert, but she's been able to clean it up. Now Elsie Albert's just flattened Jones. She's decided that the grass looked quite comfy and wanted to sit on it there for Jones. But now it's going to be around the side. Papua New Guinea looking aggressive in the early stages of the contest. But yeah, that was a bit of a mismatch. Albert running straight at Jones. Now another good run. That time Shelley Long does have the carry. 6 minutes into the contest, the Orchids, they have had all possession, all territory. Another big run from Jessica Reeves. Now, I'm interested to know who Papua New Guinea end up facing in the semi-final. It's either going to be New Zealand or Australia. One of those two sides will be going head-to-head with the Orchids. It's just a question of who ends up on what side of the draw. And I believe that match that we see tomorrow night between New Zealand and Australia will definitely determine who finishes where. It's going to be kicked high. Anika Butler chasing hard. 54 metres game from the Orchids. And that was a little bit too high from... It was the tackle attempt from, I want to say that was Anika Butler as well, wasn't it? Yes, was it now? Goldthorpe hits it up and also go the Papua New Guinea Orchids. Says Sylvester there. Back across the left-hand side. England with the ball. Jessica Reeves wrestles her down alongside Banu. Up to third for the English, moving to 40 metres out from their own line. They were about to touch the ball for the first time in the Papua New Guinean half if they can get through on this tackle. Which won't be easy because Papua New Guinea's defence currently been looking very strong. In fact, they kick on fourth. Instead of going for that extra phase, they decide that kicking it in behind would be a good option. Anika Butler just lets that ball roll into touch. And now it is going to be a Papua New Guinea tap from about 10 metres out from their line. Butler was trying to go for the pass on the inside. No one was looking at her. It's kind of like when you have your hand up for a high five and you just end up getting left hanging. I guess is the best way of describing that for Anika Butler, but it's going back to the middle of the field. Will be first from 10 out for the Orchids. They've been able to score that early try, which certainly helps build momentum, but now it's a case of keeping that foot on the throttle, trying to really hurt the English defence for making mistakes. Nice run forward from Viviers. Now it goes in behind to the right-hand side. Another good carry. See, England's defence at the moment, they are muscling up, and they have to in this game because Papua New Guinea are going to run it straight at you every day of the week. And it has just been, I guess, confirmed by Elsie Alberts, who's kneed one of the English players in the face in the process. I think that was Jones again. She's going to have a tough battle with Alberts throughout this game. Big run from Banu. Dragged down, though, not quite enough time on the ball to be able to find that offload that she might have been after. Now it's going to be Shirley. Joe goes back across tackle. So far, we've seen 45 made by the English compared to 6 of Papua New Guinea. Kicked him behind, though. Bit of a nothing kick, and now the opportunity opens up for England to have this ball, and you can watch it for free to air. Broadcasting if you have ExpressVPN on Virgin Media 2 in the island server, says Yanri now. So Virgin Media 2, I might quickly write this down. In fact, I'm going to take a screenshot of your message, but yeah, I will have to probably watch it with a VPN to be able to actually watch this game for Munster versus South Africa. I do want to do the matchup though. So I guess it's just a case of finding where I can watch it and knowing that it won't, I guess, glitch, because that would be the main thing. But now fourth, big shot there once again. Driven backwards there, Georgia Roach, and jumped on in the process as well. Now going short side for England, looking for the gap, didn't quite get it, and that was 25 metres gained or so off their set of 5. Cunningham, she decided to go short side. It seemed like England had some sort of tactic, but it didn't really play off when they actually found it on the field. But they're just showing that big hit once again on Wakefield Hill. A lot of these English bodies are going to be tired tomorrow. And the thing is, they're only a week away from their semi-final fixture. That's going to be a bit of a wrestling match between Papua New Guinea and England there. Around this side, another big run for Malawea. She's already scored 1 try throughout this matchup. She would certainly enjoy adding another one to her tally. Already had 3 throughout this Rugby League World Cup as well. I should mention Anika Butler now having another run. That's Georgia Roach making the tackle on her. Butler back to her feet. We haven't seen any set restarts yet throughout the first 10 minutes. Actually kicking on 30 for Papua New Guinea. So it seems both sides keen to kick early, playing the territory game, trying to force everyone just a little bit further back. You just want more. Or if you want more, just watch Forever Sports YouTube channel. He has everything in detail there. Says Yanri now. So I might have to give it a look and work out exactly how to get it here in New Zealand. But yeah, it's going to be a good match. Munster, it's a shame that they won't have all of their big players because I guess some of their side are actually tied up with Ireland. But other than that, I feel like it should be a relatively good contest. South Africa should win with the names that they've got on the sheet. But that's why it makes it so interesting because Munster, they'll be playing for pride. And South Africa, they'll be playing for an opportunity to try and get their names maybe in that World Cup squad when it rolls around. My voice, whoa. That ain't good. It hasn't really recovered from the weekend. In fact, it didn't really hit the rough patch up until maybe Monday or Tuesday, and then it decided to start disappearing. Nice run forward from England up to the halfway line. Now trying to get it quickly. That's going to be 6 again, I would think. Yes, it was the first 6 again call of the day given away by Anika Butler. Now driving up the middle of the field. Holly Dodd finds the offload. England starting to find their momentum. Nice run from Olivia Wood. Moves up to 40 metres out from the Papua New Guinean line. Now going short side. Will be passed across Tara Jones. One more drawing pass here. Numbers on the outside for England, but instead trying to cut up the middle was Amy Hardcastle. Now back across. Maluia was able to make that tackle, but England have got pure numbers on the outside. It was about a 4-on-2, but instead of passing, seems like Roach decides she wants to take it on herself. Now down the wing, close to the line. That's got to be almost a try for England if she hasn't blown the opportunity. Referee's going to have a look at this. Okay, they're saying a foot may have been in touch. The thing that I was actually looking at was maybe the grounding for this one, whether or not she did end up just managing to wiggle that ball down before getting rolled to her back. It's going to be a big moment in the game, though. The TMO is going to have his first big decision to make. Okay, they're going to be checking all possible angles for the grounding. Big bump off there, though, for England. Yeah, I don't think she gets that down. I don't know whether or not that ball has touched one little grain of the grass. Yeah, it's up at that point. That's brilliant defense from Papua New Guinea. I believe it was Malabag who was able to get that hand under the ball, wrap it up, and stop it from being able to put that ball down. And the thing is, because that foot goes onto the touchline there, I believe that's going to be Papua New Guinea's ball. Massive moment for the Orchids. I believe the decision should be no try, but sometimes it's hard to tell what way the bunker are going to actually go with it. Even though this one should be straightforward. Once it loads, the van drives past and it says no try. So England really having a little bit of a struggle early on up against Papua New Guinea to find their rhythm. That was probably the best attacking play of the day, though. And yeah, game is very late. South Africa 9 o'clock at night on a Thursday night. Says Yanri now. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one because it will actually be our first rugby union game, I want to say, during the week that started that late. Because normally if we have to get up for an early midweek game, maybe about 6 a.m., 7 a.m. But yeah, this one, 8:30 a.m. is doable, I think, for us here in New Zealand. So it's always good news in that regard. But Papua New Guinea now 10 metres out from their line. They will be rolling this one back and having it back alive now. Vivers goes across to Alberts. It's a few extra metres. It seems like England are doing very well in standing up the Papua New Guinean player and then just forcing back about 5 to 10 metres each time they run a little bit too high. But Jessica Reeves certainly knows the technique of running hard at the line. And go the Papua New Guinea Orchids. We are all watching in Papua New Guinea. Says Fernandez. Do let me know, Fernandez, what is the time in Papua New Guinea at the moment? I believe it's about 5 a.m. or just before 5 a.m. if I've got my time zone right. So that is certainly commitment from you guys. And Papua New Guinea, Albert, has just sat down another English player, this time Olivia Wood, but she's put her body on the line and Albert's put the ball down in the process. It's pretty well done from Olivia Wood. It could have ended a lot worse for her, but she was willing to take a massive hit for the sake of the side. And it's 5:45 a.m. in Papua New Guinea, says Fernandez. Okay, so this game will be finishing at about 7 a.m. or so. I guess that's not too bad. Or maybe 7:30. So just before a lot of people will be going to work on a Thursday morning. Pass back across to the right-hand side now for England. They've got numbers again. Anika Butler trying to defend, but she hasn't really got caught in no woman's land. Normally no man's land, but I don't know whether or not that works at the same time for the women's game. And you think the Boks will beat France this weekend, says Yandri. Now they've got an opportunity, that is for sure, France. Because the Springboks last week looked very, lost, I guess is the best way of describing it. They didn't seem like they knew what was going on, which is not good news for a side that are normally as world-class as the Springboks. Now pass back across for England. Now it's a 3-on-1. Anika Butler tries to make the tackle. She's done well. At the moment on that side, England are actually blowing the opportunities. Anika Butler's just standing in the middle, hoping they run at her, and they keep running at her. That was close. Almost a repeat of what we saw just a little bit ago, but I believe that is going to be in touch. Oh, England at the penalty advantage, though. And also, we have the why aren't you showing the live match? Pretty much it's down to copyright. If we do show any match footage or audio, we get taken off YouTube, and also we can get sued by the Rugby League World Cup. So because of that, we aren't actually able to show the footage. I can recommend Spark Sport as an option for being able to watch the game. And also, there are a few other options depending on where you are in the world. I recommend checking out the Rugby League World Cup website, and that way you will be able to see exactly where you can watch it, depending on what country you're in. Any sites to watch the live stream, only the ones that have paid subscriptions at this stage are the ones that I know of, which are the Spark Sports, the KOs, in England, I want to say it's on Sky UK as well, and she's only $9.47 in South Africa. If I see you streaming the match tomorrow, I would know the advice worked. Says Gandri now there. Big run forward from Jessica Reeves. Once again, having a bit of a lead tip from the English defensive Amy Hardcastle. We're all supporting and shouting out Papua New Guinea, supporting our female team, challenging England, says Fernandez, and they're certainly doing just that at the moment, challenging a side that a lot of people thought coming into this match would have been quite heavy favourites, but Papua New Guinea working hard. Danu with a good tackle. Banu. 15 minutes into this game at the moment, England on the halfway line, looking to break through. Jessica Reeves puts in a big shot, though. One thing Papua New Guinea certainly don't lack is physicality out there on the park. Now another big shot, England. Going to wrestle down third tackle now for the Lionesses, going back across to the right. It's all about just trying to find that option and find that gap. I believe on Anika Butler's side is where there are a few more gaps starting to form for England. They seem to like that right-hand side a little bit more than the left, but good tackle made there by Vivas. Now fifth and final, 39 metres gained. England will kick this one high with Winfield Hill. It's going to be a 50-50 contest now. Instead, Papua New Guinea able to clean it up. And I'll say, yes, can't believe Virgin Media 2 is for free. If you have ExpressVPN, wish everything was like that. Or I believe it wouldn't just be if you've got ExpressVPN, just a VPN in general to be able to watch those ones. So luckily, I have two VPNs that aren't Express. Hopefully one of them works. I think is the best way of describing it. Or actually, now that I think about it, if Virgin Media 2 has the game, more than likely it may be like what they did for the All Blacks 15 versus Ireland. It could just be streamed on YouTube. To be honest, on the Virgin Media YouTube channel. We might check that out at halftime, see if they got a live stream schedule. But that's what they did for the All Blacks 15 versus the Ireland 15. It was on Virgin Media, and they actually just streamed the whole game on YouTube. So that might be an option. Now, going across that all right-hand side, it's going to be kicked high. Nicely taken by England, and now they've got the ball 40 metres out from their own line. Great defence from Lisa Marie Alu. England, they've only been able to break through a small number of times, but position-wise, they've had a lot more of it in the last little while. I think that's really going to be helping them out big time. And also, they just brought the rights to the game, says Jan Rinel. And I feel like they're doing it smart, Virgin Media, because at the end of the day, if they've bought the rights, they might as well try and absolutely, extend all of their, marketing resources, which is why doing it on YouTube, I think it's so smart, because at the end of the day, you're going to get people watching that you may not have had watching anyway on your website, if that makes sense. Now, nice pass on the outside. Knocked down there. unfortunately for them. See, like, I'm going to go back through, see if I can find it. I think they've actually, interestingly enough, they've taken the game that they streamed between the All Blacks 15 and Ireland off YouTube, which is an interesting one. So maybe they are only streaming it live, and then from there they have to take it down due to the, I guess, the restrictions of their licensing purchase. Could be something. The copyright world and Orchids, please. Papua New Guinea behind you, says Judy John, and now they have got themselves the position once again. They're 20 metres out from the line here. The Orchids make that 18. So England have once again lured in 4 ladies into the tackle and driven them a bit further backwards. Now around the side, Papua New Guinea deciding they'd take a bit of a snipe there. The former Shelley Long wasn't able to get through. A good tackle of Jones. Back across to the right-hand side, Albert. Once again, charging forward, driven backwards by Emily Rudge. So England's defence has been very good throughout the first 20 minutes of this game, you'd have to say. And so is the Orchids. So it's a chess match. These two sides not allowing easy points on the board for either of them. Papua New Guinea once again. Banu has another carry. They're only up to 4th, and they decide to kick early once again here for Papua New Guinea. It's a decent boot downfield, but it's well cleaned up by Goldthorpe, who now try and run it back. What a step that is. Going straight up the middle. Still going Goldthorpe. Somehow manages to regather his centre of gravity and not fall over. Now almost up to, now they're in the half of Papua New Guinea, I should say. Now nice run from Amy Hardcastle. Runs straight at Elsie Alberts. Sticks the hand in her face with the fin. That's going to fire up Alberts big time. Now back across. Roadshaw, it's gone through the hands. Massive shot there in the process, but not the mistake that you want to have there. And now Papua New Guinea will have themselves another attacking opportunity, I believe. Unfortunately, there, Holly Dold just not able to hold on to it. And also we have their loop, and there's their Sifo. Yeah, another mistake from the English. I'm wondering what the odds are looking like for this game, because I didn't actually get to see them before the match. But normally for the women's game anyway on the New Zealand TAB, they actually lock out any betting as soon as the match begins. So I'm not sure who came in as favourites for this contest, but at the moment, Papua New Guinea certainly holding their own in this game up against the English, which is exactly what you want to see. Another big run forward from the Orchids. Either way, both of these sides are through to the semi-finals. Perhaps there's a chance they could somehow meet in the final as well. Now another big carry forward from Banu. That seems to be the tactic. Get it into her hands and just tell her to run it straight at the English defence. Now Jessica Reeves tries to go through, driven backwards in that tackle. Seems unfazed and a little bit disappointed, I think, in herself there, Jessica Reeves, for getting driven backwards so far. Now another good tackle made by the Orchids on the halfway line. Now Papua New Guinea running out of tackles, 21 metres gained in that set. Going off to the right-hand side, looked a little high, but England have been able to clean it up, and that will be the handover in favour of the English. I think this one's going to be a relatively low-scoring game by the looks of it, but that does not mean it won't be entertaining. Both of these sides really fighting hard for every metre that they're able to make. I should say. They're just very evenly matched for the early stages of this game. Shona Hoyle having the carry there. Another big carry, but Danu has been able to make that tackle. Elsie Albert, everyone at home is watching, honestly. They can't breathe, Papua New Guinea, says Judy John there. Yeah, a lot of people getting up early for this game in Papua New Guinea. We do appreciate every single one of you for being here. We are hoping to cover the semi-finals of the women's game when they do come around, as long as they do not overlap, of course, with any other big matches that are happening of the weekend. If it's next week, though, during the week, that would be ideal. So we might have to have a quick look there. Now it's going to be the wide cutout pass. Goes straight to Amy Hardcastle. Now finds the offload again. England keeping this ball alive. Going to the short side. The draw and pass. Once again, mistake made. And I think it actually came off someone from PNG. So that will be now another opportunity for the English. So the semi-finals is perfect. They're actually playing next Tuesday. So Group B winner will be up against the runner-up. So Group B winner, that's going to be either Australia or New Zealand playing England, Papua New Guinea. The winner of this game will end up having the later game, the 8:30 a.m. start time. So that would be more beneficial for us, because then we wouldn't have to get up as early. So, I mean, it's an interesting one. In a way, that would mean New Zealand have to win in the rugby league game. Although we prefer New Zealand, Papua New Guinea as the final if we had to pick. That would be quite an awesome contest. for the Kiwis, but now back across, a little bit of a slip, but she still found the offload up to Georgia Roach. Pass on the outside, charging at the line. This is deja vu again. Papua New Guinea able to do just enough to be able to defend. Again, you don't even need to sign into Virgin Media, just locate to the right region. And you're in, says Yanri now. Now the ball rolled back for the Papua New Guinea Orchids. They're going to have to defend very hard because England only 10 metres out from the line here. In fact, make that 5 metres. Go to the Papua New Guinea girls. Sessanitha there. 5 metres out. England back to the 10. Going for the early kick. Cross kick. It is perfection from England. And Leah Burke gets herself the first try of the contest. And that has certainly made the crowd erupt. It is at home at the end of the day for the English. That try will certainly give them a bit of confidence, but it's taken a while to be able to break through this tough PNG defence. It's the cross kick, though, the unorthodox style of England has helped them out there. Now England, they find themselves sitting 4 points to 4. It was a great run initially from England, getting close. Once again, getting held up there on the far side for Caitlin Beavers, but then the little kick in behind from Winfield Hill. She saw the space. She saw Burke in the open, and she was able to make the most of it. A lot of these sides do enjoy kicking on fourth, I have noticed, in this matchup. In fact, we've even seen some kicks as early as third, but it seems to be just to throw a different look at your opposition, make them not completely be sure of whether or not you are going to be kicking early or whether you are going to be going a little bit longer. It seems like they may not have the sponsorship to show the energy drinks that they're drinking. They've got some tape wrapped around the logo. Kind of looks like a My Zone bottle, though, if I'm being honest. It's got that different type of cap. But now a kick coming up for England. First of the day, it will be Tara Jane Stanley. We're trying to line up this one. Not going to be the easiest kick for this one. And like they've said, she hasn't had the best kicking accuracy, 52% throughout this competition. Taking some deep breaths, though. Wants to make sure that this one goes over. I think Argentina can beat Wales this weekend. Says Yanri now. Yeah, they came off a massive win up against the English last week, which they'll certainly be happy about. And that was an impressive fixture as well for the Argentines. They just managed to hang in the game long enough to then take their opportunity. That one's missed. Away to the side once again there for Tara Jane Stanley, and that's going to make the score remain at 4 points apiece. But yeah, Argentina, I think the sad thing would be if they go into their game up against Wales and then just don't play the way they did up against England, if that makes sense. They need to make sure that they keep that momentum building. So, I mean, there's some pretty good fixtures coming up this weekend of the men's and women's rugby coming up. I mean, we've got Tonga, Chile. That will be an interesting game, although they aren't actually showing that here in New Zealand. But I'm looking forward to seeing the result of that contest. Then we get into a few of the other big matches that are taking place on the weekend. You've got yourselves, the New Zealand Barbarians. They're going to be playing up against, the New Zealand 15 playing up against the Barbarians. New Zealand, Scotland, South Africa, France, Argentina, Wales, England, Japan, and also a little bit earlier on, Georgia, Samoa, and Italy, Australia, Ireland, and Fiji. And also you can get 10s and running Papua New Guinea, says Peter Mason, and Phil for scoring Scotland, man, New Zealand going to destroy them. Scotland never won against New Zealand, says Yanri now. Although the thing is, normally when Scotland have their back to the wall is when they actually play some of their better rugby. Like they narrowly missed out in their game up against Australia, which they'll be disappointed in. But I think if everyone underestimates Scotland, they might be able to fire back, which is going to be quite exciting. Nice run forward here. Still going for Whitfield. Now England seem like they have taken the momentum in this contest and are certainly trying to run with it. Now back across on the right-hand side. We're up to 4th here for England. Another big run, and it becomes the penalty there against Papua New Guinea. So that's going to be a massive one for the English. 6 more tackles like they've said. We will go like this, and we will go like this. I'm just looking through for the last time that Scotland played New Zealand, because for some reason, I think it was relatively close in that matchup. I can't actually remember what the score was, though, but I think they were in it for quite some time. Although I don't think I'm going to find it. Yeah, postponed from 2020. So it's been a little while, but I think they pushed the Kiwis last time. And go Orchids, says Krypton. And I think the England versus Argentina game is a perfect example of you can't underestimate some of these sides, because on their given day, that's a brilliant run for England. And Hardcastle scores the try that will give the English Lionesses a lead. Man, Ireland paid the price, playing the box, lots of injuries, so maybe an upset for Fiji. Says Jan Renell. I know a lot of people are trying to compare the Springboks competition or the end-of-year campaign now compared to the All Blacks last year. So they're saying that they played their game up against Ireland. The All Blacks were defeated. And then from there, they went on the next week, and then they got defeated by France. People are saying that's what's going to happen to the Springboks. But I don't think the Springboks will go down easy. Definitely not against the French, which are a side they've been looking to play for a very long time. They want to make sure that they do well. And also we have got there, can you share the link where I can watch the match live? My guy says Seth and Bezo. It depends on what country you're in, mate, but I believe a majority of them are through live streaming software, such as having a subscription to Spark Sport, subscription to KO. I am watching on Spark Sport, if that helps you out. If you've got a VPN, can actually watch it in New Zealand on Spark Sport. But yeah, there aren't really too many ways of watching these games other than actually the highlights on the Rugby League World Cup YouTube channel straight after the games have taken place. Now, Tara Jane Stanley only sitting now 50% accuracy throughout this Women's Rugby League World Cup. It's not the easiest angle for her, you'd have to say. And also we've got there, what was that, 6 again for that key to the try. Oh, I think it was actually an offside penalty against Papua New Guinea that did lead to them getting those 6 extra tackles. And also we have got their React South Africa 18 versus Munster, says Suns Orbit. That game's taking place tomorrow. But you would know that Suns Orbit, of course, with the support for South Africa and Munster. But that one is missed again for the English. And also South Africa won 5 out of 5 against France, and France, they just don't know how to beat the box, says Jan Renell. It's going to be a good run, though, down the wing when we did see Amy Hardcastle charging forward. It's a nice drawn pass from Woodfield Hill. Yeah, beautifully done by Hardcastle. 30 minutes through this contest. England, they've got themselves the 4-point lead. Papua New Guinea, other than that first 10 minutes, it seems like now the territory and possession stats have certainly now gone in favour of the English, and it will be kicked off again long by Papua New Guinea to get us back underway. Malabak, I believe, was the kick taker there, and so could make it 6 from 6. Says Jan Renell. Yeah, that will certainly give them confidence building into that World Cup game that the two sides could find themselves facing off in the semi-final of the competition. Now, nice run forward from England, sitting only about 35 metres out from their line. Kwapa has been taken off the field, and that is for Elsie Albert, who's made her way back out there now. Now going to the left-hand side, England moving up almost to the halfway line. Great run once again, Whitfield. She keeps on breaking tackles. That's probably, I would say, a good 30 metres gained in her 2 tackles that she has had. Winfield Hill, with the ball on the inside. Papua New Guinea, they're having to work hard. I think she got her head slammed hard into the ground there for Emily Rudge. 5th and final, 51 metres gained. It's going to be kicked in behind. And Butler has been able to clean it up. And now Papua New Guinea find themselves with a bit of possession just before the end of the first half. Still 10 minutes left, plenty of time for PNG to get back into the contest, but they just need to get out of their own half. It's the first step for the Papua New Guinea women's side. Oh, having her hand over the mouth of the Papua New Guinea players. Oh, okay. I think there's going to be a little bit of afters after that, because we did see Papua New Guinea's player stand up and pretty much point at the English lady and say, I saw that, I've got you next time. I have to see what happens between those two. Now, nice run forward once again from Lisa Marie Alu. 6 again, great for Papua New Guinea, and she knew that if she stood there or stayed in that position a little bit longer, she would have managed to get the 6 again, and it's worked out. Now, Elsie Albert, this will help Papua New Guinea drive out from their half. So then 14 metres out from their own line, another big carry, and the head gets snapped back, and Michelle John with a solid defence from Whitfield. Rolls it back again. Yeah, last time France beat the Box was in 2009 by 1 point in France. By 1 point in France. Wait, so they have lost in France, Yanri now? Or was it in somewhere else? You have to let me know, because that stat that you've got there just a little bit earlier was South Africa won 5 out of 5 in France. But then if they lost in 2009 in France, then I guess that would be 4 from 5 or 5 from 6, maybe. Now, little grubber in behind. Too much on that one for Papua New Guinea, though, after gaining 46 metres, being able to fire back and get into the territory of the English just didn't quite work out for them. And also we get Amy Hardcastle, 8-4 go the Lionesses. Says Peter Mason, yeah, it was a very good run from Amy Hardcastle out on the wing, and it seems to be that left-hand side, even though it's the side they've gone to less for England, that's actually been their more effective side of the field, as they've been held up about 4 times on that top side. At this point in time now, another big run forward from Holly Dodd. Gets back up to her feet, or gets back up to her feet, I should say. Now up to the halfway line for England. They are starting to make a few extra metres here in the process. Going off to the right-hand side. Bit of draw and pass. And also we've got there go Papua New Guinea says Leighton. And yeah, at the moment it seems like a lot of people getting behind the Orchids. Someone's lost their boot. I believe it was the English player now going back across. That looked high from Jessica Reeves, but it's worked out. It's a great shot in the end. Yep, knock on is given. Jessica Reeves looks like she may have rattled herself in that tackle. She probably caught her on the ponytail. Yeah, geez, she's just thrown her body, pretty much put the shoulders back and gone smack straight into the chest. Said, how are you going, Georgia Roach? Yeah, she doesn't look 100% at the moment, Jessica Reeves. I think she might have hurt herself in the process there. Time off. Oh, someone's got a bit of blood. I think it might be Georgia Roach. Has she got a bit of a cut on the side of her head? Was she going off for an HIA? No, it's actually Field. There's the one with a bit of a leaking nose at the moment. It's the last thing you want when you got a white kit. I feel like it's just going to stain so easily, isn't it? And also, let's go Papua New Guinea. Says Judy John there. A little bit of a nosebleed. She's saying she's all right and she wants to continue. Okay. I think she's going to be all right to continue this match. Still 6 minutes left of this first half between the Orchids and the Lionesses. If Papua New Guinea score themselves a try before the end of the first half, it is certainly anyone's contest as we head into the second half now. Back across here. Backline movement. Nice movement from the Papua New Guinea side, but a good tackle made out wide by Leah Burke, one of the try scorers again since the 2009 loss in France. Last 4, not 5, sorry. I was 1 in France, says Yanri now. So still a very good record for the Springboks, and they'll be looking to do that again. Who do you think one of their key players is, Yanri, now in the matchup? I know they've made a few changes. They have now got Kurtley Arinsa actually going out on the left wing, Colby out on the right, and then at number 15, Billy LaRue actually makes his way back into the starting lineup. That's another huge run from Elsie Albert. She's just trying to flatten every English player out there on the park, but Jessica Reeves has been taken off the field. That is actually for Joe, and I mentioned how she didn't look 100% after putting in that big shot, so maybe they'll be checking her out for an HIA now while she has been taken off the field. That is going to be the 5th and final little chip on from Papua New Guinea. Nicely taken by Leah Burke. Like I mentioned, she's already scored 1 try. That looked a bit high, and England get themselves the penalty. The referee just saying a bit too high with that tackle. Yeah, around the neck region from Lisa Maria Lu. So an understandable penalty against the Papua New Guineans there. That kick goes into touch in England now with 5 minutes left on the clock. If they score now, I did mention if Papua New Guinea score, but if England score, that might be just enough momentum to be able to build them a decent enough total in the second half as well. Big run from Elsie Albert. Didn't quite get it clean on the tackle. Well, Whitfield, the ball's been stripped. It was a 2-woman tackle, though. So because of it, England will once again get themselves a penalty. And at the moment, they are just marching their way up the field in errors from Papua New Guinea. Yeah, Whitfield was a 2-woman strip. Yeah, you can see the ball taken away there. Unfortunately, just not quite on the rule book there. And also the front row, everyone said France going to destroy our fullback like folding paper. And Lebock, we need a solid kicker. And we stand a chance, says Yanri now. Question, Yanri. Do you know why they took Damien Valimza off tackling, or sorry, not off tackling, off goal kicking after missing 1 and gave it to Cheslin Colby. I couldn't understand that unless there was some sort of leg injury for Valimza. I was very confused, almost baffled by it. And in the end, those points, if Valimza had been kicking, could have been what won South Africa the game. But instead, they decided they wanted to have Colby as their goal kicker, which I'm very confused about, as you can tell. Now to the right-hand side, only about 10 metres out from the line now, Roach. One more on the outside. Couple handling errors from England, but it's going to work out now. Tara Jane Stanley, she's over. And that's going to be the try. She's asking the referee for the try. They are actually going to be looking at the video referee for this one to see whether or not Tara Jane Stanley was able to run this one in for a try. On-field decision is try. They need clear and conclusive evidence to overrule this now. All right, they're going to be checking all available angles for this one with 3 minutes left in the first half. Tara Jane Stanley may have just been able to score one. Yeah, that's on the line, I believe. I think she just slides over. She was looking up for the referee as soon as she thought she was over this angle. Oh, that angle looks short. Okay, the front shot was better. Can we have it in full speed? See, that looks close. Very close. I feel like we need the angle from the other side, and she also needs to move her arm because I don't think that was clear and conclusive from that side. But the thing is, because it was given as on-field try, they need something really clear to say that it wasn't a try, and I don't think they were able to get that there. So it is going to be the try for the English. 3 minutes left in the half and the perfect time to be able to score if you are a Lionesses fan. But Papua New Guinea now, they need to find their way back into the contest. The big thing is, though, if this kick also misses from Tara Jane Stanley, they're still in with a bit of a chance for Papua New Guinea to be able to catch up relatively easily as long as they score before too long. But England going out the back line. And it was a little bit of a handling error from Dodd that then found the hands of Tara Jane Stanley and just managed to muscle her way over. Yeah, weird. I think Rassi said Colby must kick because he didn't trust Valimza to kick, I think. Well, that's interesting because surely having someone who kicks regularly in like other competitions and whatnot would be better than a guy who we haven't seen in action for like 2 years. Like, so I guess it's weird, isn't it? Because I would have thought Cheslin Colby, in terms of kicking accuracies, yes, he's done it in the past, but it's been a long time since that has happened. So, yeah, I feel like I would have still backed Damian Valimza 9 times out of 10. And in that starting lineup this weekend, I believe he's going to be the kicker as well for Damian Valimza. And if they go Cheslin Colby, I will be shaking my head and just in utter confusion. That kick is great from Tara Jane Stanley. It's gone over and now making the score 14 points to 4 in favour of England. Papua New Guinea, though, they're not out of this contest yet. They just need a little bit of the rub of the green and get themselves a try relatively soon in this contest. They've only got 2 minutes to do it in the first half, and the first set that we will see will actually be the English charging at Papua New Guinea, so they may have to wait a bit longer before they get that attacking opportunity. But when they do, they need to make sure that they capitalise and make the absolute most of it. Emily Vivas now about to kick this one downfield, gives it the big boot. England taken nicely. Now, the last thing England want is an error here to give the chance to Papua New Guinea before the end of the half. We can see there that Gracefield actually has got the cotton bud up her nose, trying to stop it from bleeding. We did see that she did get patched up just a little bit earlier on in the contest. Banu, she's been taken off the field. The 5th interchange player already to be made for Papua New Guinea. Now, you only get 8 in a contest, so the fact that they have already used up 5 makes me a little bit concerned for maybe the stamina of Papua New Guinea when we get to the later stages of the contest. Once again, Whitfield, great run by Elsie Albert. She's worked out the tactic. You've got to go around the bootlaces. When a lady who is able to break tackles for fun is charging straight at you, you got to make sure you take her down right where the momentum starts, and that is in the legs. Nicely cleaned up in behind and good attacking run from Papua New Guinea. They've got 50 seconds left of this first half now. We rolled back. I believe Molawea wasn't too happy with the way that she was put down on the ground and held down for a little bit longer. England will be looking closely at the clock here, though. Papua New Guinea, they would be very wise to go for a bit of a backline movement here. We haven't seen it from them as of yet. Wrestled down, though, once again. 20 seconds left of the half. And now they are going to be going to the short side. This is better. No, it's not. That was not the ball that they wanted. They tried to go back on the inside, and now all it's done is given England another attacking opportunity with one last play. And also we have got there, what's all this rugby union live chat? There's a league going on, says Peter Mason. I guess it's just like everyone's in sport mode at the moment because we did have the Cricket World Cup mentioned earlier on. Pakistan, of course, getting the win over New Zealand, unfortunately, in that semi-final, a game taking place tonight between England and India. But halftime in this contest now, 14 points to 4. Papua New Guinea will go into the break with a 10-point deficit, and the English Lionesses in front of a home crowd will be relatively happy, I guess you say, with what they've been able to do in the first, definitely because Papua New Guinea were the team that scored themselves the first try. I'm just going to have a quick look at the odds and see if they do actually exist for this one. I should mention this weekend we are going to be doing the game between New Zealand and Australia for the Rugby League World Cup, and also alongside that we are going to be doing Samoa versus England. Should also be an absolutely awesome fixture when it does take place. Right, sports. Let's see what we can find for the odds, but I feel like it will be like those other matches from earlier on, which will mean they don't actually have the betting taking place. Oh, they might. Oh, there we go. Okay, the match result for Papua New Guinea to win this game is sitting as $21 underdogs. Oh, wow, that's a shiner and a half. She has got a black eye that goes from about here to here for Jodie Cunningham. So she is certainly going to be feeling that one in the morning when they have to try and push it a little bit further down. As I said, or she said herself, she said it's been a physical game, but we've been able to ride it out not too well. And her eyeball, I think, probably is a testament to that because that looks painful, big time painful. At the moment, Elsie, I'm going to have a chat to her, Elsie Albert, to see whether or not the English can get back into this contest now. The thing is, it's a hard one for Papua New Guinea because, like I mentioned, they've made those 5 changes. I believe England have only made about 3, which could be the massive difference maker in the later stages. But like I mentioned, Papua New Guinea, to win this game, is paying $21, which is pretty massive for them, the Papua New Guineans, and they will be hoping to really prove the odds wrong in the upcoming second half. But we did see a great start to the match for Papua New Guinea. They had more territory and more possession, but then from there, it just started going a little bit further downhill for the Orchids, and England started to find their momentum. So the big question now, I guess, is will the Papua New Guineans be able to get themselves back into the contest, or could it be the English who are able to continue those running meters? We've seen 46 tackle busts from England. That is absolutely insane, that number. Complete sets, we've seen 15 from England, 6 incomplete. They've still made an extra 200 meters compared to Papua New Guinea with 621, compared to Papua New Guinea who had 420 meters gained. But like they are saying, New Zealand, they will be playing up against the Australians in the game tomorrow morning. We won't be able to cover that contest, unfortunately, due to the overlap that we will have with Munster taking on the South Africa A side. And also, what a great game. Go Papua New Guinea, tough ladies, says Leighton in there as well. But yeah, both of these sides have put in some huge hits. The thing is, they're playing on Tuesday, which means you've only got 4 days until the body needs to recover. And that's going to be a pretty quick turnaround for either of these sides. Definitely with a semi-final. The good news is New Zealand and Australia will also be in that same boat because at the end of the day, you've still got their game tomorrow night. So they'll actually only have about 3 or 4 days in between contests. And yeah, I think because Colby kicked for Toulouse and Williams had a terrible game, so they thought Colby would do it. But in my opinion, I think they panicked and had no idea what to do, says Yari Nell. And that's probably a great way of describing, I guess, the South African performance in general up against the Irish. They just panicked. They didn't know what to do. The last 10 or 15 minutes was their best because they actually played the way that a lot of people thought that they would have played from the get-go. But early on, like they were giving the ball to the Irish just for the sake of kicking it. And I think that's why Jaden Hendricks has been taken completely out of the side for this matchup as well, just because they feel there was no real structure to the way that they were playing. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting up against France because France, they've got a relatively structured game as we've seen recently, although they only just were able to beat the Wallabies in the end. By that 1 point, that was another ripper of a contest. And also PNG physicality, aggressive, go, 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 says Leighton and the chat as well. They are just showing the highlights from New Zealand versus the Cook Islands. It's going to be an interesting game tomorrow. The Trans-Tasman matchup for the women, and then we get to see the Trans-Tasman men's matchup taking place a little bit later on Saturday morning. And girls, you can do it, says Kane and the chat as well. And yeah, early morning start for you guys in Papua New Guinea. You will certainly want to see this Orchid side get themselves the victory. So I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not the second half is going to be a great one for, I keep on almost calling them the Kumuls, but of course it's the Orchids versus the Lionesses in this contest. But yeah, the game tomorrow morning, it is going to be kicking off at 8:30 a.m. also. Then the semi-finals are at 6 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. on the Tuesday morning. And I'll just quickly see where the final is, or when the final is, I should say. The final will be at 2:15 a.m. on the Sunday. So I believe that's actually taking place. Surely that's wrong. So 2:15 a.m. on Sunday. I'm just going to have a quick look because I swear the men's match is actually also on it. No, the men's match actually, sorry, the men's match is 5:30 a.m. that it has taken place. And also, why do you think there are so many support for Papua New Guinea on your channel chats? Says Yandri now. I guess it's just that Papua New Guinea, they have a very passionate fan base. And from what I've heard, it's quite tricky to find the games in Papua New Guinea to be able to watch them. So that might be why we do have a few more Papua New Guinean supporters. We're very happy about that, of course, because everyone from Papua New Guinea always just gets behind their side. Win or lose, they're going to be supporting them 110%, which is always absolutely incredible to see. And I feel like a lot of teams should take notice of how they react for Papua New Guinea, because if they win, they're happy. If they lose, they're still happy that they put in a great performance. And it's always nice to read the chat, win or lose for Papua New Guinea. So I think that's something. It's quite cool. There we go. Bit of hay fever for the morning. We're currently 9:20 a.m. here in New Zealand. Papua New Guinea by 2 points go Papua New Guinea, says Alan there. That would be a massive comeback from the Papua New Guineans, but it is doable. That's the thing. If they get themselves 2 tries, 1 converted, 1 not, they're back to the draw. If they get 2 converted tries, then they are in the lead by that 2 points that you mentioned. And yeah, $21 underdogs. So to be able to score first in this game up against England, I think is a huge testament to the way that the Papua New Guinea women's side play. They just need a little bit more attack in the second half. We did see they made 420 metres in their matchup for the first half, but England able to make that 621, which did have it slightly more in their favour. Yeah, especially the South Africa fans when the Box lose. Says Yanri now. It's a tricky one overall, isn't it? Because I guess different fan groups have different reactions to wins and losses. And some teams, you do get used to winning. So then it makes it difficult when you do go through a slightly rougher patch. I think a lot of New Zealand supporters have found that out recently when they went from world number 1 to getting beaten by Ireland, then getting beaten by France, then losing a couple games of the Rugby Championship, losing an Irish series and being almost at an all-time low in terms of the numbers and the statistics. But some of the supporters, they've stuck by them no matter what. And then when New Zealand, if they get back to that high, they'll be able to say they were with them the whole time, even though that's probably what the ones who have been bad-mouthing the All Blacks will also say, that they've been with them the whole time. When I think of Papua New Guinea, I think of the animal, the guinea pig, says Yanri now. I mean, it's got a similar name in it, I guess you could say. Although very, very different, I would say, a guinea pig and a player from Papua New Guinea. Big difference. I was thinking about this earlier on because I saw lionesses and I saw orchids. And I was thinking in my head, what would win in a fight between an orchid and a lioness? And it should be the lioness. But if the lioness accidentally sniffs the orchid, she's going to be sneezing. And sneezing is, I mean, a loss in itself, really, isn't it? I just sneezed before. I don't know why my brain went that way. That was when I had just woken up. So this was like 7:30 a.m. From then, I've kind of learnt that it's a bit of a pointless question. But currently, not too far away from the second half getting underway. We do have to see some very good performances from the Papua New Guinea side if they do want to find their way back into this contest. We've seen some good games from certain players, the likes of Jessica Reeves. She's been playing well, but did have to go off the field due to a bit of an injury. Albert's been strong. Haven't really seen too much of Gussaman. That makes me a little bit worried there. Great game, girls. Improve yourself in the second half, says Sammy there. And also, if I had to pick another player who has done pretty well, I would say Mullabag. She's been a bit involved throughout that first 40 of the game. Then for the English, Hardcastle's had a good half. Leah Burke also doing well. Then I would say a little honourable mention, probably for Holly Doll. She hasn't been too bad in this contest either, but it looks like they're just getting a little bit of medical attention at the moment for one of the Papua New Guinea, one of the English players. And yes, plus the Box in New Zealand are so successful in rugby and expect to win and always win most of their games. Says Yanri now there. Yeah, the coach trying to fire up England. He knows that Papua New Guinea are still in this match until they manage to, I guess, build that little bit of extra momentum in Australia W to beat England W in the final by 48, says Peter Mason. And also, go, our mighty Orchid woman team. You can do it for us at home, says Lahale. And there as well. But yeah, anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We're going to be back, hopefully, for the semi-final fixture. In fact, I believe we will be able to because it's on a Tuesday. So we will be back for the semi-finals where Papua New Guinea will find themselves facing off against either Australia or New Zealand. Should be an intriguing contest either way. But I believe, it's a tough question of who would they prefer to play. They might find out tomorrow who they would rather have. They're on the field, and Nika Butler looks like she's got a bit of a leg injury at the moment, maybe. And also, we've got the Are the Kiwi women flying home with the guys? Sorry, H, couldn't help it, says Peter Mason. I mean, it's a good question. It seems so weird, doesn't it? But I guess the more that I think about New Zealand already having their flights booked for straight after the semi-final, the more I guess it kind of makes a little bit of sense. It still doesn't look good because it seems like they're saying, nah, no matter what, we are going home at this next stage of the comp. But, I guess it's just strategic. At worst, they've got to cancel them. And I hope they get their money back, or else that's quite an expensive trip to book about 40 players in for a trip back to New Zealand and then go, actually, no, we don't need it anymore. We're through to a final. Although you'd like to think making it to the final would be worth more money than not making it to the final and flying home. And speaking of wild animals, walked with my friends at night in the bush safari this past weekend in South Africa and saw giraffes and wildebeests like a few feet from us. Was crazy, says Yanri now. Impressive. I guess that's the benefit of living in South Africa, isn't it? You've got a whole safari area just next year if you do find the right area. And 14-4 at halftime, says Peter Mason. It certainly is. So Papua New Guinea, they have to be the first team to score in the second half, or else the English may be able to keep on building that momentum and give themselves just a few more points on the board. Looking through it, the way that this group is sitting as well, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who doesn't know, both of these sides coming into this game, they were undefeated. Their points differential, very impressive, plus 118 for England and plus 92 for the PNG Orchids. So 4 points each. Someone is going to be losing the undefeated streak of this Rugby League World Cup, but the benefit is both of these sides still go through to the next stage of the competition. So yes, it would be unfortunate, but it is not the end of the world for either of these sides if they get themselves the loss. And in some ways, I know it sounds weird to say, but depending on the performance, maybe the team that loses will have more motivation heading into their semi-final. Who knows? It's a hard one to predict. And also, are you doing Munster versus South Africa tomorrow night? Says Connor. We are hoping to. We're just going to make sure that we know exactly how to watch it here in New Zealand. And up the Orchids, says Judy John there. And the chat as well. And also, morning Amish, 15-minute break when our Kiwis, 15-minute break when our Kiwi Ferns play, says Spider Mix. So they are going to be playing 8:30 a.m. tomorrow morning at the same time as Munster plays South Africa, unfortunately. So a bit of an overlap there. And Aussie Air is nothing like it alone with nature. Seeing the stars at night, sadly, one night at a safari is insanely expensive, says Yanri now. Looks like now about to be kicked off for the second half of this fixture. It's going to be an interesting one because England they've got the momentum as they were able to score in the 37th minute, but they will be kicking off this one to Papua New Guinea to get the second half underway. And we are now back underway for this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Papua New Guinea, great take there. It was low and driven in the goal kick, but brilliant take from Michelle John to be able to clean it up and do the Munster match. Says Connor, I will definitely be doing SA A versus Munster as long as I can actually watch it here in New Zealand, which I believe I'm going to need a VPN to be able to do. But as long as I can get it up, because they don't have it on Sky and they don't have it on Spark Sport, so I'm going to have to find another way of watching it, which sounds like RTE or Virgin Media, actually, sorry. Does seem like they have got it available. Now, 4.5. Oh, okay, that is going to be a penalty in favour of Papua New Guinea. Not a bad one to win early on in a half of rugby league. And yeah, they did start their second half similar to the first, which seems to be quite well, making those meters, but they need to continue that momentum. That is the hardest thing for the Papua New Guinea Orchids at this stage. For England, at the moment, Papua New Guinea actually coming in now is $14 underdog. So interestingly enough, from going at halftime and then having one set, the odds makers have said that it is a completely different, different layout now for just how the match is going to be sitting. But nice run forward from Papua New Guinea. Albert was the lady with the carry there, now going across to the right-hand side. Another big hit up for Michelle John, I should say. Having a shocker with the names at the start of this first half. And it's the second half. Having a shocker with everything. And Virgin are showing it, says Connor. So yeah, it's just more of being able to watch it here in New Zealand, because I would need my VPN. The ball has been played. Now LC Albert gets close to the line. That's going to be fifth and final now for the Papua New Guinea girls side. They've been wrestled down. Great tackle from England there. And I can't believe Sky doesn't have it. I think it's just due to the licensing, similar to what we saw how DSTV didn't have the game between the All Blacks 15 and Ireland, and also those games that were outside of the international window. So I guess it's just more of the case of securing the licensing, unless they've secured it extremely late. Maybe we find out tomorrow morning that they might have been able to get themselves some sort of licensing, but up till then, I think it is just going to be on those Irish and South African networks to be able to watch it. Now, England just inside of their own 20-metre line. Another big charge forward from the Lionesses. All the best girls, says Dogs there. Oh, it's 6 again. That is a mistake you cannot afford to make if you're Papua New Guinea. You had them under pressure, but then that discipline just lets them down a little bit. Already 3 minutes through of the second half. Now nicely past the crossfield. Big run forward from Amy Hardcastle. Already scoring herself a try in this contest, and that looks like an injury here. Unfortunately for Michelle John, she has stayed down. And that might be another interchange that they have to make. It's going to be another penalty in favour of England. No, in fact, they're going to be going back to check on the player. Munster will win tomorrow night, says Connor Crowley. It's going to be an interesting one, because they are going to be missing some of their big players, the ones who are getting selected for the Irish versus Fijian game. But Munster at home should still certainly be able to put up a bit of a fight, I would think. It'll be kind of sad not to have Damien Dialende, though, won't they? He would have been an interesting one to have in that contest. And also, I think RG Snyman was rumoured to have been playing up until he did get injured again. And now he is no longer going to be an option for the Munster men. The coach of the Orchids, though, he'll be disappointed, because every time Papua New Guinea almost get themselves a little bit further back into the contest, that is when the mistake happens. And then England are really able to capitalise. They're up to third already here, but Papua New Guinea, they're going to have a long way to go down the field when they do eventually get themselves some possession. So what happens to the knee? Oh, I think it just gets crushed and twisted, unfortunately, when she was falling. And it is in Cork tomorrow night, says Connor Crowley. It looks like going off the field now, Michelle John not going to be able to continue this match. So any rest that they thought they were going to be having for another one of the players has now been pretty much taken away. Now back across to the right-hand side, another big carry forward. Picked up and almost dropped there. Drop down as well for the English. That was a nice run from Grace Field. Going off to the right-hand side. Now the draw and pass. Big shot there on Stanley, trying to break through 2 more, still charging at the line, finds the draw and pass. Oh my, that was a big shot. What's happened there? It's a knock on, they've said. That was perfect timing. Made it look like a massive shot, made it look like a spear and a half. Look at that, bomb straight down, drives her into the ground. Sarah Karoi has got her lined up and just drives her into the turf. And Hawkins, all the best, says Fernandez. And if that was ever a momentum-shifting tackle, you would have thought it would have been that one, but it's actually going to be, instead, actually a penalty in favour of England by the looks of it. They're going to captain's challenge it, and it becomes the penalty for a no arm. No, surely it was a high tackle, you'd assume, because it looked like there was quite a wrap involved, but it was a massive shot. England now going to be on the attacking once again, though. 4 minutes into the second half, already a tenth of the way through the second 40. Now the white cutout pass, great tackle made by Papua New Guinea, but England still breaking forward with Hardcastle. They are not a side to underestimate here, England, but Papua New Guinea's defence been pretty solid throughout that first half. They'll be hoping to do it again here. Elsie Albert has to make the tackle there. Trying to force the handling error from the English. They're up to third. Short ball. Whitfield gets tackled low. Elsie Albert's done well. It's up to the fourth now for England. They're going off to the right-hand side. Only 10 metres out from the line. Great flat run. And it's another penalty up against Papua New Guinea. It's for the high tackle. And also good to see you got your copyright strike removed, says Novmum. Yeah, it's very good that we were able to get it going as soon as we did, or else then this weekend would have been interesting. We probably would have been going on the Kiwi Lads Sport and Shed or instead for the weekend. But yeah, it is handy. Luckily, they responded very quickly, which I really appreciated, because it was even before the end of the game that they had almost already sent their first email back. It probably took a good, maybe, I think it was about a day to get it removed, just because they had to go through the YouTube process of having it retracted. But yeah, we managed to get it gone, which is the main thing. Now back across, Bennett goes now one more. Work from the Papua New Guinean defence. Bennett now will be passing it off. Short ball. Nice run. It was actually Grace Field there. Now back across to the left here once again for England. The cross kick, if it's taken, it's a try. What a run that is. And it's a beautiful try. Leah Burke uses all of her acceleration. Gets onto that one. And now England have themselves another try in the early stages of the second half, and that will be one that really hurts Papua New Guinea here. Like they've said, Papua New Guinea, they have quite a tight defence. They don't really allow much room for error out wide, and that is why England went for that cross kick. Once again, finding the mark that she was after. Courtney Winfield Hill finds Burke, scores the try, and now England got themselves quite a nice 14-point buffer over Papua New Guinea. Great take from Leah Burke. I want to run onto it perfectly. If it bounced, it could have been a different story. That ball could have gone anywhere, but luckily for her, she got to it on the full, then slams it down for the try. That now gives them the 14-point buffer. If this kick goes over, it's going to make it 16 points. Might be a little bit too many for Papua New Guinea to be able to make up, but there is still 33 minutes left in this half. Speaking of 33% kicking accuracy for Tara Jane Stanley in this contest. She has been struggling to get them over, unfortunately, but they are saying it's a tough job being the kicker of the side. But now, about to line this one up, Tara Jane Stanley. Taking the deep breaths. I think the referee's just having a bit of a chat with the TMO in the background by the looks of it. But I don't think they're going to be checking anything here. It is more just the case of just agreeing on certain penalties. I believe that kick has gone over from Stanley, and that will now make the score a total of 20 points to 4. And all the best girls, says Geneth. Hopefully I've said that correctly. I'm sorry if I have mispronounced that, though. A nice run forward from Burke. Out wide. England now with a 16-point margin. They're going to need a few tries in a row here if you're Papua New Guinea to be able to break the chain of momentum. And Papua New Guinea now to win this game are $51 underdogs. So it's changed drastically. For them to win by 1-7 is actually $126. So the likeliness of that happening, they are saying, is near impossible for Papua New Guinea here. Now, big run, high shot, unfortunately, from Jessica Reeves, and it's just mistake after mistake after mistake. Oh, I think Reeves might be getting her last warning here for that shot, just a bit too high, caught her around the chin. And Papua New Guinea's discipline is really letting them down now. And Elsie Albert has been warned by the referee for it. In fact, now it's $151 for Papua New Guinea to be able to win this game. Now $201. I would assume that England possibly scoring a try here very soon. But Bennett takes the quick tap, goes off to the left-hand side now. The English Holly Dodd does get the carry. Nice tackle made by Ravu. Now forward again for England. Sitting at the moment 8.5 minutes through the second half. That was weird. I think the camera glitched a little bit there, but now Dodd. I think England might consider a cross kick again. It seems to be the most effective pass that they have got at the moment. Now the long ball. Short pass. Whitfield, nice carry. Moves up to only 10 metres out from the line now. And, looks like it's another injury for Papua New Guinea. They are dropping like flies at the moment. They might not have a squad left for their semi-final matchup if this keeps going. But this time it is going to be actually Vivas, the captain. Or the kicker anyway. I don't know whether or not she is actually captain, but she is the kick taker. What happens here? Oh, she catches the boot to the face. That would have hurt. They are just showing the backline movement from England has been very effective throughout this contest so far. A little bit of attention, though, for Vivas. And a second half that has not started the way that Papua New Guinea would have liked it to. And I think that is really going to be, I guess, it's going to be tricky for them to be able to fire back in this matchup. As England, they are still going to be on fourth. They'll still have one more phase before they have to give it back to PNG, who will be deep inside of their own 20-metre area as soon as they do get the ball. If they get the ball, that is. Fevers now, though. Seems like she is going to be all right to continue this contest. England 10 metres out on fourth at the moment. Now it's rolled back. So they are going to be going for the pass off on the inside. Nice run here once again for Cunningham. Not able to break through. But now fifth and final, 38 metres gained for England. Looking after the short side. Nice inside ball. Whitfield gets close to the line, driven down. And that is going to be the last tackle of the set. Okay, they've actually said that it is a positive end to the set, the English commentator. Although you'd have to say, from that close to the line, surely they would have liked to be scoring. That was a big shot. And England driving back the Papua New Guineans there. Now, back across. Another big run from Papua New Guinea. Wrapped up around the neck region, I believe that was. The tackle of Emily Rudge. So I might have to have another look at some of those tackle attempts. Now, big shot down from Amy Hardcastle, driving Papua New Guinea still only 10 metres out from their line. They're looking to march, though. Going off to the left-hand side, Elsie Albert. It was a rough pass and went behind her, but it looks like it's cleaned up not too bad. Jessica Reeves now with the quick pass. Now another big run here. This time it's going to be Gorsaman. She starts driving nicely. 50 minutes through this contest. Still another 30 to go. So Papua New Guinea, plenty of time to try and get back into this contest. They will need 3 converted tries if they want to be able to take the lead here, though. After the short side, fifth and final, they made 26 metres in the process down to the halfway line now in England. Will find themselves attacking once again in the form of it will be Goldthorpe. Someone who we haven't seen too much of is Caitlin Beavers. We saw her early in the first half when she was driving her way over the try line multiple times in a row, but getting held up. But other than that, we haven't really seen her too often in the second half. I bet you she got the ball now. Beavers, nice run there. I guess she just wanted to prove me wrong. Now, Dodd trying to pierce her way through. Papua New Guinea's defence still working hard, though. Like it was Jessica Reeves who out make the tackle there. Oh, Dodd. Back across to the left. There's another injury by the looks of it for Papua New Guinea, so they've got the numbers. Now Whitfield driving forward at the line. They're not going to stop her from there. And Vicky Whitfield does score the try. That will be another one for the English, and they now find themselves on 24 points to the 4 of Papua New Guinea. The second half, I mentioned about it in the first, though. The fact that Papua New Guinea had to make so many changes for the interchange early, they had already made 5 at halftime, which was certainly going to make it an uphill battle for the second in terms of that fatigue. And then from there, we've already seen another couple injuries for Papua New Guinea in the second half. So I believe they've almost made all their interchanges, and they still have another 29 minutes that they've got to play. But England looking like the fresher side, only making about 3 interchanges. Could be definitely one of the difference makers. But Whitfield, she's been looking good in this game, and she will definitely be a menace in the semi-final when she plays up against either England, or sorry, not England, either Australia or New Zealand in that contest. 52 minutes in though, and the score is going to be 24 points to 4. Still with a kick to come here in this contest for the English. And it's incredible how quickly the betting odds have changed. They were $16 underdogs, Papua New Guinea, in the last little while, and now they are $101 underdogs for the game. And also, we have their win or lose, you girls are countries, Papua New Guinea, and there says Judy John. And that's the thing. No matter what, Papua New Guinea are still going to get behind their sides. They are in the semi-finals. They'll be looking to try and G them on towards a victory. It's going to be tricky in their game up against New Zealand or Australia, but definitely not impossible for the Orchids. This game will be testing them and teaching them a lot. It is their hardest game up till this point, but it's kind of what you need heading into a semi-final on only 4 days' notice. That is actually when it's going to be the next game. Go PNG Orchids. Says Martin there. That kick is successful from England, so it will now make the score 26 points to 4 in favour of the English. And it looks like Whitfield, she might not be finished for the night in terms of her attacking prowess. There's a big yawn. And any link to watch live, says Edward. The only one that I've got really is Spark Sport here in New Zealand, but that is a paid subscription service, sadly. So I don't believe they've got anywhere to watch this game for free, which is a bit of a shame. And Bobby has said go Papua New Guinea, and also go the Papua New Guinea Orchids, says Marakai there. And also, we've got any link to watch live on Facebook. I'm not too sure whether or not they've got it on Facebook. I'll have a quick look, see what I can find. They are going to be kicking off short. Malabag is there, but now going back across. Good run from Whitfield once again. We have another attack. We will go here. And we will go England versus Papua New Guinea. I'd like to think someone will be illegally streaming it somewhere, won't they? Or maybe not. No, they're showing someone's streaming, or someone streamed the men's game. Other than that, it doesn't seem like they've actually got any streams of the women's game, unfortunately, on Facebook, which seems weird because I guess a lot of people do try and illegally stream these games, so it would make sense for them to have that one. Now it's going to be kicked in behind. Papua New Guinea taking that one only a few meters out from their own line. Anna Marie, or Lisa Marie Alu, really running out of space there. A nice tackle made once again by Papua New Guinea. On Papua New Guinea, they are only a few meters out from their line. Butler throws herself at the attack, and she's been almost dropped on her head. She looks like she's not very happy at all. She's trying to trip the player. She's just told her to F off, so I think she was not too happy. England's defence, though, I think it's more frustration for Papua New Guinea at this stage of the match, knowing that you're slowly going further and further out of this contest, and the English defence just aren't allowing you to make your way through. Trying to shuffle her way up there, LCL, but 13 meters gained by the Papua New Guineans, and they will kick this one downfield. Not a huge boot on it, but it is going to be down to the halfway line now. England with another attack. It's going to be Goldthorpe. Goes straight up the middle, almost breaking right through, but she has been tackled there. 30 meters out from the line. England now looking away to their right-hand side, looking for the offload. It's actually going to be knocked almost forward, is it? Yes. They're saying it is going to be the knock-on and scrum feed for I believe that's going to be the knock-on against the English, so it should be Papua New Guinea's feet, and they need to make some meters big time here, and they need to score, I would say, before 60 minutes. So they've got 4 minutes. You know what? We'll give them a little bit more time because 4 minutes is quite harsh. We'll say they need to score before 62 minutes to really still have their hopes and dreams alive in this match. That was not the pass they were after. Anika Butler has to jump on her, and Beavers is on her back. Could end up being a 6 more call. But for now, does seem like it is going to be all right. Papua New Guinea wrestled down there once again. Here, the rubbish truck is about to drive past. LCL, but trying to go around and go the Orchids, says Pamela there. Yeah, they've put in a good fight in this contest. They scored the first try. The scoreboard does, I guess, in a way, flatter the English with the way that it is set out, because Papua New Guinea have had their chances in this game. That's got to be a 6 again call, doesn't it? No, the ref's being very, very generous in favour of England in terms of what they are getting away with when it comes to those 6 again calls. Now, kick downfield, Malabag puts a bit of distance on that one. Nicely taken there by Leah Burke, who's already scored 2 tries now. We'll be looking for a third try and a fend off Papua New Guinea. She's running backwards. Wow, that was a huge fend. And now she's still going down the wing. Burke has broken about 3 or 4 tackles in a row, but a massive fend halfway through was pretty incredible. And now another big run forward from Hardcastle, and they are running just a little bit harder at the line, it seems, for the English at this point. Then Papua New Guinea now breaking through once again, moving up to 40 metres out. And England all the way, says Sifo. And yeah, it does seem like England will be making their way through. So I guess question for you, Sifo, would you rather play New Zealand or Australia in the semi-final? Because depending on the result of the game tomorrow, that will determine it. That was a weird one for Paige Travis and her opposite in the tackle. They were kind of just slapping each other. Now, kicked in behind from Roach. Tries to grab her, waiting for this one to sit up. It's Anika Butler. She's done well to be able to clean that one up. Yeah, they're getting annoyed here. Every time they go into a breakdown, I mean, Tara Jane Stanley, she's playing the game well. She's firing up Anika Butler, then complaining when she gets pushed back in 26-4. Lioness is roaring 58 minute. Says Peter. Oh, big shot once again on Papua New Guinea. They are currently sitting 58.5 minutes through this one, still deep in their own possession. They need to start finding something in this, whether it's a cheeky offload every once in a while, whether it's a backline movement. We have hardly seen that from Papua New Guinea. Every set has been hit the ball up, and then from there, end up making about 20, 25 metres, kick it back downfield. This time they made 31 metres. And yeah, okay, both sides getting a little bit scrappy here. We're seeing a lot of things going on the ground, whether it's hair pulling or whether it is just holding a lady down for a bit longer. Nicely taken, though, this time from Goldthorpe. You can't afford to kick the ball to her because she really can make you pay. It's a great ankle tap made, though. Crazy NZ is in the chat. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. Hope you're excited for the International Rugby League and Rugby Union that we got coming up this weekend as well. Now Hardcastle. Back across. England, nice. Carry forward. Dodd's taken down. And well, new emote. Hello, says Crazy NZ there. Yeah, we got the Halloween emoji on the channel now, I should mention. Unless you are talking about like the actual, like, as in the YouTube ones. Maybe cross kick. No, just outside of the length for the reach for Caitlin Beavers. It was almost another opportunity for England, though. We're up to 60 minutes. Now, I mentioned Papua New Guinea to have a chance in this game need to score before the 62nd minute, which pretty much means this set is it for Papua New Guinea. Though Anika Butler driving nicely. Once again, held down there for a little bit longer. Nice run forward from Hemil in there as well. Now going across to the right-hand side. I've noticed that on my live streaming software, Crazy Z, it comes through as it's a square. Are you putting squares in the chat or is it something else? Nice chihuahua, by the way. But yeah, is it a square or is it a different one? Do let me know. But like this one you put through, it was 5 squares. Now to the right-hand side. Trying to go through this time. It was in the hands of Shelley Long. And we do see the 7th interchange taking place for Papua New Guinea. That is going to be now Banu back out on the field and already getting herself a carry. 19 minutes left on the clock. And also now, do I go to bed early Sunday night and set my alarm for 2:50 to watch the All Blacks and All Blacks 15, then go back to bed for an hour and get my son ready for school? Or says Nov Mum. So my strategy there, I would say, bed for an hour is probably not going to work too well. I feel like you'll get more tired and it will probably take you about 40 minutes to get back to sleep because you know you have to get up soon. So I would probably recommend trying to sneak an extra hour's sleep some stage, I guess, before that, whether it is tonight, the night after, somewhere a little bit earlier on in the week, just so that you can, that was almost deliberately knocked down by Banu, but it's gone backwards. Watch the replays and avoid social media till I get back from jury duty. Or duty, sorry, I should say. See, that's tricky. Avoiding social media and avoiding any headlines coming through. Like, you got to remember literally every headline in the paper that you walk past that you don't even realize you've walked past will have a big All Blacks beat Scotland or Scotland beat All Blacks on the front. So it's going to be a tricky one. So what you could do if it's hard though, isn't it? I don't have kids, so I guess that's like the part that I can't relate to. But I do have a YouTube channel, which sometimes feels like it's my child because I do have to look after it a lot and keep an eye on it at random hours of the night. And good luck not hearing the results. Radio Papers says Crazy and says, so yeah, it's going to be very, very tricky in that regard. Can you go to bed early on Sunday night? Maybe. Such as if you're going to get up at 2:50 a.m., is there any chance that you can go to sleep on Sunday night at about maybe 6 p.m.? I know, but the kids. Does your husband cook tea on a Sunday night? Is that a possibility? I'm back across. Going one more to Hardcastle. Great run, just short of the line, dragged down beautifully. And that tackle. And go LC Albert, says Judy. John close to the line once again. It will be Goldthorpe taken down. If I didn't have jury duty, I could just go back to bed after getting my son to school, says Nov Mum. Yeah, I feel like it's one of those ones that it's on the worst possible day that you have to do it with an early morning as well. Yeah, I've noticed this weekend, it's weird for myself because I can almost sleep at normal hours to an extent, although I might need to play cricket on Saturday. I have learned they might be short in numbers, the local team. So I might have to put on the pads for the first time in about 5 years and see how we go there. That's actually going to be before the Black Ferns game. Another one for Burke. The cross kick has been dynamite and kryptonite of the defence for Papua New Guinea. And I can't believe we don't play till Monday morning, says Crazy and said. It's a weird one. But in a weird way, I'm happy about it to an extent, other than, of course, for Nov Mum in this case. But other than that, I'm kind of happy about it because with Samoa playing England, the last thing I wanted was another overlap for that game. So, yeah, it's good to an extent that it overlaps with England versus Japan and also Fiji versus Ireland's a shame that we're going to have to miss the last little while of that game unless we can find some commentary fill-in, I guess you could say, for the final moments of that contest. I know that Robiech is going to the Barbarians game, so he's going to be unavailable to be able to do any commentary for that one. They're not happy because it's so far away, says Crazy and said. Yeah, it's weird because, like, we've already done our team prediction, I think. Yeah, I did upload that yesterday, didn't I? So we've done our team prediction, but I think they're going to be announcing their side more than likely on the Friday. So, yeah, it's a weird system at the moment. This week's crazy, pardon the pun, compared to last week because there's no sevens. So it's so much lighter on the workload. Like, we've still got a lot to do, like a lot to do, but it's good because it's not quite as much as having sevens during the day as well. Like last week, over the 60 or 72 hours, we'll call it, of Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Over those 3 days, I probably managed to get about 10 hours of sleep in 72 hours, which is not recommended, ladies and gentlemen. You should not do that. It's what I ended up doing, and I slightly regret it to an extent because I was very tired. I still haven't actually caught up on much of that sleep. I'm still struggling to get the 8 hours each night, but I'm still happy we did it to an extent because we were able to get through it. We pushed on. We didn't lose our voice, which was massive. England now going for the conversion, and that kick has gone over. I'm actually going to have a quick look and see the comparison of what the score was in the men's match between Papua New Guinea and England, because I feel like it was somewhere around this. South Africa, the games are always on such perfect times, says Yanri now. Yeah, it's awesome that we haven't had any overlap for those games yet, which is very good news indeed. So, what was I looking up? I've already forgotten. What did I just say I was looking up? This is a bad sign, isn't it? I was looking up, the England versus Papua New Guinea men's score. I don't know why my brain went so blank. I think it was because I got a notification on my phone that I read, and then that completely sidetracked me. Do you follow the Europe or the Rugby Europe YouTube? I've been seeing countries I've never heard of having rugby teams, men's and women's. It's awesome to see that we are slowly seeing more depth being built in the rugby world, because it can only do wonders for the World Cup, really. So the game between England and Papua New Guinea was 46 points to 6. In the end, I think we're going somewhere along that line in comparison to something says Crazy and said. When does the 7 start again? It will be on about the 4th of December, just after my birthday, or the weekend of my birthday is actually when we're going to see the 7s take place. Every game is for win or lose. So who cares? Up the Orchids, Papua New Guinea, says Judy John. Exactly right. The country are still going to be well and truly getting behind them in this. To make it through to the semi-finals is massive for Papua New Guinea, and the next game will be the one that they look at very intently, looking to cause the upset. But currently 5 minutes for that yellow card. Papua New Guinea still remaining. Another good run for from Jodie Cunningham. That's going to be the handover after 51 metres gained. They do have to give the ball back to the Orchids, who have not escaped their own half. And that is not even an exaggeration. I don't think we've seen them in England's half throughout the last 27 minutes of this contest. We have not seen an attacking opportunity for Papua New Guinea, and England playing the territory game absolutely beautifully in this one. Now another big run forward from PNG, but they need those extra meters. They need to find those line breaks. We saw in the first half 6 tackle busts for Papua New Guinea, which sounds like a big number till you hear 46 tackle busts for the English throughout that first half. With the woman disadvantage as well, it's just going to make it that little bit harder for Papua New Guinea. They need to throw something different in England, though, because at the moment, the running around the side of the breakdown, the first receiver hitting it up, is not really gaining the meters that they are after. I think they're hoping England will make a mistake in a breakdown, but we have not seen that yet. It's going to be charged down. Does that count as 0 again, or is it going to be the 5th? Or looks like an injury there. It's going to be first, though, for Papua New Guinea. And was there any upsets for you last weekend? Do you think there will be this weekend? Last week, I think biggest upset of the weekend would have had to be Argentina beating England. It was a massive one for them. And they came in as about $5 underdogs in that contest, Argentina. So I think that was the biggest upset of the weekend. Italy beating Samoa by so much, to an extent, I think was also a bit of an upset, just because I think a lot of people felt that game was going to be relatively close. Other than that, though, I want to say almost every other game went the way that a lot of people were anticipating, because the favourites won it a majority of the time. I guess Australia-France was also quite a close one. Okay, there was charge down. Challenge was unsuccessful from England there. So I believe Papua New Guinea are going to remain with this ball, though it looks like one of their players is relatively seriously injured here. Ravu has not got up. I've never heard of Czechia yet. They have a women's rugby team. Great to see. Oh, okay. Crazy and said, have you heard of the Czech Republic? Out of curiosity, because that is actually Czechia, even though I say it wrong, I believe. But yeah, they were originally known as the Czech Republic, but now are known as Czechia. So that is where that slightly might cause the confusion, I guess. Okay, 12 minutes left on the clock. A disappointed Papua New Guinean coach, but he knows that it's not over yet. Oh, yes, I thought it was them, says Crazy and Zed. And there as well. But yeah, it is great to see these lower ranked teams really pushing to one day make it through to a Rugby World Cup. They might even consider extending the Rugby World Cup eventually to 32 teams perhaps. That would actually be pretty awesome. Although they don't want to do what they've done with Rugby League and that is have too many sides getting beaten by huge margins. So that is why maybe we won't see that to an extent, but we might see the qualifying process for the Rugby World Cup maybe a little bit trickier. And also we could see like a Rugby World Cup that is sides ranked below 40, all going head to head to head. Maybe not call it a Rugby World Cup, but call it some sort of like miniature competition that they do will get to take part in to eventually make their way to the Rugby World Cup. Papua New Guinea back in position. And also we have to imagine Japan beating England, says Yanri now. Well, England, I feel like even people saying imagine Argentina beating England seemed unrealistic to an extent. So it's possible. England have caused some big Japan have caused some big upsets in the past. And did they play last week, Japan? I think they might have missed a week. They did play up against the All Blacks, and they played pretty well up against the All Blacks as well, I should mention. Now a nice run from England, sitting 40 metres out from the line currently. I'm just going to quickly check to see if Japan did play anyone last week. I don't think they did, though. They actually had the week off so they could travel to England. And also that channel was interesting. I recommend it, says Crazy and said, yeah, there's a few hidden gem rugby channels on YouTube in terms of being able to show highlights of games you didn't even know were happening. And a lot of them are actually supported by the actual, like, federations, is that the right word? But pretty much it means that they are not going to get taken down for copyright, so you don't have to worry about that. So that would be wild if Japan upset Eddie Jones or England, seeing Eddie Jones coached them once. Yeah, and he actually helped them towards a couple massive upset victories of their own in the past. Papua New Guinea, though, they are 10 metres away from reaching the halfway line, which I know sounds like such a weird statement, but they have not been in England's half pretty much throughout this whole 30 minutes. So this is about to be a little bit of a win for Papua New Guinea. They've decided to fire it right back. So they haven't actually made it into the half yet. Now Jessica Reeves, they're in the half. Right. What can Papua New Guinea do from here? Can they build any sort of momentum? Jessica Reeves has been taken down. Looking to place it, and she just does that. 40 metres out. Albert has another carry up to fourth now for Papua New Guinea. They love to be able to get themselves some form of points in the second half, just like they did in the first. They actually scored the first try of the contest. Now nice salad dummy going forward. Shirley Joe driven backwards in the tackle by England, and that will be fifth and final now. They gained 53 metres. That is a lot better set from Papua New Guinea than what we have seen. And a few of the others. Little grubber behind. It's a decent one as well. Rolling towards the touchline. England waiting for it. It was the push in the back, though. Mistake from Papua New Guinea. I don't know why she decided to do that there. De La Cruz, pretty much, she could have allowed that one to keep on rolling. And then the double-handed push in the back just was the mistake, unfortunately. And also, yeah, but I think it would be the exact opposite from last weekend. All the teams that lose last weekend will win this weekend except New Zealand and Ireland, says Yanri now. And also, I'm praying that Scott Robertson stays in New Zealand, says Crazy. And said, yeah, at the moment, it's a tricky one because he's probably getting some pretty good offers from overseas. And with him coaching the Barbarians, I'm sure he will be pretty happy with that one. Overall, I'm just having a quick look to see if the All Blacks 15 have announced their side. They have not quite. Because it's a Monday game, they'll probably be on the same day as the All Blacks, which might be Friday for us here in New Zealand. Now, another big carry forward for the English. Nice tackle made by Elsie Albert. Now, there's only 1 minute left of the Papua New Guinea yellow card, going for the 40-20 early. It's a great kick as well from England. And it's a classy 40-20 attempt there. Just outside by about half an inch. It is going to be not a 40-20. And you think the Barbars will beat the New Zealand 15? It's a tricky one. I feel like the Barbarians, don't get me wrong, they've got a decent side, but I wouldn't say it's as strong as they've had in past years for the Barbarians. So I'll say they'll put in a decent shove, but the All Blacks 15 to win it. An error from Papua New Guinea. Unfortunately, once again, every time they get the chance in this game, it seems like something ends up going wrong for them. Now with 8 minutes left on the clock, it is going to be the captain's challenge, in fact, from Papua New Guinea. They think that there might have been something in there that could mean that they get themselves the penalty instead. Okay, they want a challenge for the knock-on is what they have called there, but currently 73 minutes through the matchup. Like I mentioned, 7 seconds left of the yellow card for Papua New Guinea. Then they will be back to 13 women. Okay, challenge is unsuccessful. I said that's a knock-on. Now, even though it is traveled backwards, they still consider that as a knock-on. And now, 7.5 minutes left, and also they have experienced players. But AB's 15 are young and firing. Says Crazy NZ. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to seeing who gets in that starting lineup because we know Lester Whainā-Nuku has now gone into the All Blacks 15 setup. Also alongside that, it is going to be, I believe Brad Weber has been returned back into that AB side now. Getting close. She's in touch. And nice defense from Papua New Guinea and Sleepstream win sleep or Sleepstream win sleep. That's Crazy NZ. Sleepstream win sleep. Straight away, that reminded me of when I did the commentary in my sleep, which actually, not on live stream, but just when I was sleeping outside of the live stream. I ended up doing some commentary while I was in bed, sound asleep. My mum thought I was on the phone, but really I was just talking about a game that was going on in my head. But now, nice run from Banu, Papua New Guinea here. I'd like to see them get some form of points. And yeah, TJ is with the AB, says Crazy NZ. So I think the New Zealand 15 have the potential of putting out a really strong side here. But they will probably need it up against the Barbarians. I also saw that the Barbars are going to have a Damian McKenzie join them once this matchup has taken place. He is going to be joining them afterwards. I think the set restart has been claimed. And LC Albert now charging forward once again. It was just a little bit too high and a big collision there between two English players, which is why one of them has stayed down. Now Papua New Guinea moving up to 40 metres out. Sean Stevenson should be there too. Try him on the wing. Yeah. Number 14's wide open at the moment for me because Severisi's been a bit 50-50. But if anything, I think you could transfer Severisi out to the left wing side, put him there, and then have Sean Stevenson out on the right. Like Sean Stevenson at the moment is in some of the best form of his life. And the fact that he's scoring tries for fun in big games like up against the Irish A, if you give him a crack at international level, I think he's going to do pretty well. There are rumours of him going to the NRL, possibly signing overseas with another club. But like if he gets that chance for the ABs, who knows, maybe has got a future there for them. Nice tackle made by Jessica Reeves, but England still in possession. Going off to the right-hand side. Would go straight through. Olivia Wood still charging. Doesn't find the offload. And great low tackle made in the end by Mulawea. Actually, the first try scorer of the match for Papua New Guinea. Now, wide ball. England in the corner. Caitlin Beavers, the lady who I mentioned earlier on, hadn't really had too much possession throughout this contest, has now scored herself the try. And England will be ramping up those points just a little bit further. The first try of the game. Not too sure how many she has scored throughout the Women's World Cup so far for Beavers, but I assume it would be a few with the way she's been getting into great positions. It could be another James Lowe, play for a different country. Says Crazy NZ. Yeah, do you know if he's got any ties to any other countries, Crazy NZ? Because I know he's been in the Māori All Blacks before, but I'm not too sure where his parents are from overall, whether or not he's got a tie to another country that he could end up playing for. For me, out of all of the countries he could be from, I would say maybe, would he be Tongan? No, I'm not too sure where Sean Stevenson would be from if he had another tie to a different country. Maybe European, actually. Now I think about it. And England now with 4 minutes left on the clock. Just looking to close out this side, currently sitting 36 points to 4. So actually a very similar scoreline to what we saw between the men and the women's side for England versus Papua New Guinea. But either way, Papua New Guinea still make their way through to the next stage of the competition. They will be in the semi-finals facing off against either New Zealand or Australia. And either match will be a very good one. I wish Pari Parkinson wasn't injury-prone. Being AB for sure, says Crazy and ZC. Another player I think is getting up there in the locking department's probably Isaiah Wakaliawere. I feel like eventually he might find his way into the All Blacks as long as he does, I guess, keep working hard. Because we've seen how much like hard work pays off. You look at someone like a Tyrell Lomax, a player who a couple years ago people said, nah, he's no good. He's not going to be an All Black. He hardly makes it into the starting lineup for the Hurricanes. He has been working extremely hard, not just on scrummaging, but also working alongside that with his running game. Like, he's had some brilliant runs for the Hurricanes throughout the last 12 months. And from there, he's now the first choice option at tight head prop. So how quickly things can change. Like, working hard and having a good team around you, it's just shown what can happen. So as I look at Leawera, he's in that same camp. Pari Parkinson, like you mentioned, if he stops getting injured, that's the thing that's really costing him at the moment, because the All Blacks won't want to bring him in if they know that he could get injured in the first match that he plays. They'd be out for the season. Jody Cunningham has got the woman of the match secured. And yep, I wasn't a fan of Lomax, but he's worked so hard on every aspect of his game. Says Crazy NZ. And yeah, he's just in a short amount of time. Same with Samisoni Takiaho. He was a player that a lot of people last year even were saying he's not my All Blacks hooker because his lineouts are not consistent enough. So they felt that that was something that was going to cost him. But then over the last 12 months, he has really improved those. And now he's the first choice option for the ABs. And my children would qualify to play for the All Blacks or the Netherlands, as they have a parent born in either country. There's Nogman, great run up the middle here. And now it's going to be the foot race. Great step. This could be the try. She's going to go herself, though. She got greedy and it didn't pay off. She could have given it to Beavers for a certain try on her outside, but instead decided she wanted the glory and she wasn't quite able to create it. Now England, inside ball. It seems like they haven't finished scoring tries yet. They want to bring up the 40. So yeah, it would be interesting. See, I guess, which one they would prefer. Novmum. Now, nice ball on the outside, and that will be the try here for Amy Hardcastle. When I searched up Pari Parkinson, it says he's linked to France, but I haven't found anything to confirm him moving overseas, says Sebastian there as well. Yeah, it's one of those ones. As soon as a player goes well, the articles start coming out, such and such heading overseas. Like Sean Stevenson, he was rumored to join the NRL. I don't know if that's actually a possibility for him at the moment, whether or not he is going to be keen to make that switch so late, seeing as he has been in rugby union for so long, but it's an option. At the end of the day, the money's good and the decision seems like the right choice, like, you might as well. And that's cool enough. Mum will qualify for Scotland because my grandfather was born there. So he's Crazy and said, and although they would rather play computer games, I mean, computer games, the fact that I have a gaming channel and the fact that we play a few on here, I should say that's a good maneuver from themselves. But overall, I mean, it's so strange how much times have changed, isn't it? I sound so old, but like, if you look at what was happening 10 or 15 years ago, like, no one was really texting that much. So if you wanted to go and see people, you actually had to go and see them. You had to leave your house. But now you can FaceTime them and you can play online with them on Xbox. Like, what happened to a good old game of battleships? You know? Bring it back. Monopoly. It's a frustrating game. But, you know, it used to be you'd all sit around and just play a game of Monopoly or some random thing like that. Now lining up this kick, still with another 40 seconds left on the clock. So I believe there will be still one more restart in this contest. Referee has waved time off. Stanley has got it over. So her kicking accuracy has improved throughout this game. And I feel like that is beneficial for England, the fact that she's been able to take so many kicks. It's really helped her out in that department. But now 30 seconds left on the clock here. I don't believe we're going to see any other tries in this contest, but the English coach, he'll be pretty happy with the way that they've played here. Papua New Guinea, they have learnt things throughout this fixture. Like I mentioned, this is their toughest test to date. So the fact that they are now going to be able to use that as experience building heading into their game up against Australia or up against New Zealand, that's the thing. If they played England first in their group stage, then had 2 easy wins, I feel like they wouldn't have played as well. Liam Squire would have been a perfect 6 for the ABs. He's only 31, but sadly he's retired and working on a farm. So here's Crazy NZ there. Yeah, I think he was also plagued by the injury bug, wasn't he? Just ending up every once in a while with that little injury that did cost him. Now nice run forward. Once again, 50 seconds is gone in the final minute of this contest. So just the one set left, I think, or the one phase left, I should say. And that will be a big tackle. So closing out the match with a big one there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The crowd are going to be cheering. It's a chip and chase from England, cleaned up by Papua New Guinea. They will sacrifice the tackle with Gorsaman, and that will be the end of the contest. England win it 40 points to 4 over Papua New Guinea. So they will now be waiting eagerly to find out in 24 hours whether they are playing up against New Zealand or they are playing up against England. No, sorry, not England, Australia. And that is the same for this Papua New Guinea side. The winner of that match between New Zealand and Australia faces Papua New Guinea. The loser of that match will go on to face England in the next matches of the Women's Rugby League World Cup. That will be on Tuesday that those games are taking place, and we will be hoping to cover some of them on the channel as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy this live stream, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I hope you guys all enjoy the rest of your day. It's very early morning in Papua New Guinea, so hopefully you guys have a fun, full day planned ahead. And unless, thank you all very much for tuning in. We should be back tomorrow morning for South Africa versus Munster, as long as we can find somewhere that we can watch that game. And have a great day, everyone. Says Crazy and Steve, right back at you, mate. Hopefully it is a nice sunny day where you are. At the moment here it is cloudy and I think it's going to rain. Not ideal, but indoor activities day, I would assume, sounds like a good way to go. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you all for the next one.